Hello, everybody. We are back at the amazing and iconic Marine Stadium in Miami, right on the water at the Coconut Grove Seafood Festival, in no other place than the celebration of the sea, Eco Discovery Zone. We've been talking about whales and dolphins and sharks and everything this weekend, actually, through our amazing friend Wyland, who donated this artwork, this pelican here that we have on our keystrong.org shirt. We're really all about focusing on trying to get attention and people aware of the 11,000 families that lost their homes in the Keys with Hurricane Irma. So Wyland was generous, actually, as always, generous enough to give us this art in a second. So we have some like amazing Wyland DNA and magic dust in the building today. So this handsome man next to me, like 10 years ago, Wyland said, I see this kid. I love this kid. So Guy Snell, that we met last year when we were here. Thanks for coming back, Guy.
Absolutely.
You are amazing. So when did Wyland meet you? This little picture behind you, this handsome little devil, is you 10 years ago, right?
Yeah, that was at Wyland 99 in Fort Lauderdale with me, Wyland, and Guy Harvey, and that was a great event. That was one of the longest ones I think he ever did. It was about 1,000 feet long.
And what was it? A huge mural with kids and everybody painting?
It was huge. It ranged all the way from the mangroves and manatees, reached all the way out to open ocean, and then went on down to the coral reef. It was
incredible. Huge. So that was 10 years ago, though, right? But put the mic a little closer to your mouth. But 10 years ago, you were there?
10 years ago.
Guy Harvey and Wyland, two of like the most spectacular marine artists in the world. And something about you, because they see a lot of kids, something about you attracted Wyland and said, this kid is super talented, and we've seen your art, and we get it. But how did this start with you and Wyland? It was the first time you met him.
Well, it was very strange because I think it was persistence more than anything. You know, I'd sit in the big...
Oh, wait, I've heard this story. You got to listen to this. So you were like, you were going to have it, right? You were clear? Universe bringing you into it. Okay.
I would not be ignored.
Okay.
I would not be ignored. And I would continually sketch over and over everything he had in that tent, and I'd put it under his windshield wiper on his Porsche. Every day he had to remove it to drive home. There was no way he could get out of there without
so they get this. So you would draw it and stick it under, literally on his car?
Literally on the car. Stick it on the windshield of his Porsche. And every day I'd see him take it off, look at it, put it in his car, and drive off.
Yeah.
And then he'd come back, and he'd score it, and he'd leave it with somebody at the tent.
Who is this kid? And this is the kid, right? And that was the kid?
Yep.
Who would not be denied, right?
Yeah, would not be turned away. And then we had a school field trip, and my whole class, he asked the class, who's the best artist? And everybody just pointed at me, and I wasn't really expecting it. And that was when he recognized me. And from there, things just kind of snowballed naturally, and things just progressed. Next thing you know, I was expanding my own, abilities. I was practicing and learning things as I watched, and he was just always there providing a shoulder to lean on to learn and just
so his technique, his inspiration. So when you talk about, because actually the arts, which Wyland is amazing about bringing that back into schools, what school were you with at the time?
I was at PKS, Plantation Key School, down in Isla Morada. It's in Tavernier.
So it's Monroe County, so part of the Keys.
That's right.
And so when did you actually see Wyland? How did he inspire you? Because before you ever met him, you were like, I'm going to meet this guy, right?
Well, actually, I had just moved to the Keys, and my mom saw about him like on the news or something or in the paper, and she thought it'd be a great thing for me to go and see. And next thing you knew, I was the one that was going there on my bike every day after school.
And you were just crazy for this. You had to have it.
Exactly. It just, all of a sudden, it just took off. I'd never really drawn marine life. I always drew cars and helicopters and all that kind of stuff with my dad. And then next thing you know, marine life.
Oh, but you were always drawing as a kid?
Always drawing as a kid. And then, like, Wyland started with dinosaurs. He talks about how he used to draw dinosaurs when he was younger, and then it evolved when he took a trip to California and he saw gray whales. And then he switched over. We've all had our moment where something about
just
it
drew us in. Just a little twist, right? Little inspiration.
Something drew us in and directed us onto this kind of path,
So in addition to Wyland, because you have a lot of people who think you're pretty amazing as a kid, right?
Thank you.
Guy Harvey, who we also adore, and it's amazing you got two of these world-class guys between Wyland and Guy Harvey. So Guy, was this part of a big thing that Wyland and Guy did together, right?
Yeah, this was, I forget how many murals they did as a collaboration, but Guy Harvey worked with Wyland like very closely on multiple occasions. This was one of them, and this was where I actually got to work with him the most.
How cool is that?
I kind of followed him around with a can of paint and was like, here, use this one.
Here's a brush?
Yeah, here's a brush.
Rock and roll kid, right?
Yeah.
So tell us about this picture, because there were some awards that you actually, as a young kid, got those awards, right?
Yeah, it was myself and Carly. We were the two first youth ambassadors, and then from there we've expanded and we've brought on a lot of really great people along the way.
So
But
youth ambassadors for the Wyland Foundation.
Correct.
Right? So both you were working not only with Wyland, Guy Harvey, and they recognized you and this little light you had in your eye. Obviously you were doing something really special, because he sees a lot of kids. It's 100 countries around the world. So for those of you who don't know, so Wyland, literally, with those whales, dolphins on those skyscrapers, 100 countries around the world. So for Guy Snell to be picked out as this little cute kid in the Keys that had something that Wyland saw, some special light in you, you are super special, kid. I mean, literally not a kid anymore. You're all grown up now. But that little boy behind you, which was you 10 years ago,
Yeah.
Wyland saw something in you that was super special. You have to be proud of that, right?
It's, it's something that I try and fulfill every day. That's why I've continued on with the art. I went off to college to a maritime academy, and it just didn't turn out to be what I wanted, and I've come all the way back to the art, and I think it's something I'll do.
Always back to that. And we got the groupers pointing that out. How about a big hand for the groupers back there?
Absolutely.
Okay, ladies. Yeah.
I've known them since
not
I was
the groupies,
10 as well.
the groupers. Yeah, okay. Who actually, thank you guys so much, because all weekend they've been here helping us out in the Eco Discovery Zone with the painting, and we're going to get back to that in a second. So these are some of your paintings, right?
Yeah, these are two new ones, actually. Usually I do a larger size canvas, but these are two. I just started them. They're still in progress, but they, I've always loved sunsets, and that was one of the things that I never got into when I first started out. I always did underwater life.
And you just were painting these before we went on camera here live?
That's
Guy
right.
was off to the side. And actually behind us, just so you get a context, so Wyland with the kids, years ago, it would have been a canvas like that, right, Guy?
Exactly.
This vision that you have of sharing and expressing would have started with Guy saying, hey, grab a paintbrush and come up and splash some paint on that, right?
Exactly. Actually,
Yeah.
when I landed in China, just got off a 16-hour flight. I was 12 years old. Finally found our way to the park, and first thing, he sees me, comes walking over with a can of paint and a paintbrush. No, nothing. Just, hey, paint me a big squid over here.
Hey, kid, give me a squid.
Paint me a squid. First thing.
Rock
First
me
thing.
a squid.
And
okay.
that was, they were doing the Arctic mural at the time, but I'll never forget that trip. That was a hell of an experience, I'll tell you.
So China, now we get to Lily Tougas, our other rock star. Go Lily, okay, who's been here all weekend helping us out with her mother, amazing Missy, her mommy. So what happened, Lily, when you met? When whole thing was tied in even before China, right, with Guy?
Well, yeah, and the previous picture at
Should we go back to that?
Ball with Guy Harvey.
Yeah.
That day
Okay.
is when I met Guy here, and then we went on to China, and that was.
Where did this start? How did you guys get together? What's the story?
So that wasn't my first time with Wyland. I met Wyland through my school, Harbor Branch, and he came to my school to do a
World
painting.
famous Harbor Branch. Go
Yes.
FAU. Okay, go ahead.
He went to my school to paint with a bunch of the students there because we were all super young. I was 7 at the time, maybe even 6. But then I kept talking to him about conservation. I was just standing by him. I've never met him before. I was just like, oh my gosh, I love how you're an artist and you want to protect the animals. I love the animals. I always want to save the ocean. And I guess he saw something in me that day and invited me to go to Beijing, China for the 2008 Green Olympics.
That's saying a lot in you. If he invited you to go to China, I think if Wyland says, hey, Lily, would you want to go to China? He sees a little bit more than a little bit in you. Go ahead. So he says, come to China with me, right?
Yeah, so we go to China and we participate in this pre-Olympic event called Hands Across the Oceans, where we held hands with kids from all over the world. And there were 4 kids that Wyland brought to represent America, which was Guy Snell, Carly Grimes, Paris Schufelt, and myself.
Yeah.
And that's when I became a youth ambassador for the planet. And that's when I really started to...
Wait, slow down, because that's a big title. You're Youth Ambassador, for the Planet.
Yes.
How much does it cost to dry clean that cape? That's a big cape, like Supergirl, Youth Ambassador for the Planet.
Yes.
Wow, with Wyland. Okay, so he chose you, and okay, keep going. This is so cool. Go ahead, especially a female, right? Rock and roll. Go ahead.
And since then I was like, oh my gosh, this is something like super serious. So I started taking things much more serious. I started doing little campaigns, which obviously they were my campaign. I've grown a lot since then, because I would be like, oh mom, can we like hold a cupcake stand or a lemonade stand to raise money for the environment? And my
Dangerous
first one was Cupcakes for the Planet.
Yeah.
So that was my first campaign. And then I just grew into like a much larger conservationist. I'm now a journalist for Ocean Geographic. This summer I was speaking at the UN for an event with Wyland.
Wow.
And he wanted to kick off a new campaign that he's doing, which you will hear more about later. Right now it's not all the details are out. Mm-hmm. And just doing much conservation work.
You guys never stop, like super kids and super groupers. So let's keep going through the story. So obviously, Guy, with you and Lily, with these interactions with Wyland and bringing kids in, then is this still you, like a handsome kid 10 years ago? That's handsome young Guy Snell, right?
That's sophomore year of high school.
Stud. Okay, what's going on here with the medals again? Explain the medals. How did this all work? What was up with that? You guys were awarded...
This is Lincoln Drive right here in Miami. This was for that event with, was it Anthropology, I believe?
Oh, Lincoln Road. Okay,
yeah,
Lincoln Road.
Yeah. We partnered with a couple of businesses that were along there, and we did a couple live murals and stuff.
And always Wyland's trying to get the arts back in the schools and people aware and paying attention. And then this here, back to the medals there.
That was
the Living
Penny
Green
Camp.
Fair.
Yeah, was this Penny Camp?
That was Living Green Fair.
Okay. I can't remember. I always wear the same shirts.
Yes.
It's always the same paint shirts.
Was it washed? All clean, right?
Good. There's like 7 of them. They all look the same.
That was Penny Camp.
Oh, now we have another super, like a
Sylvia
wild
Earle.
role model here. Sylvia, go ahead. Let's hear about this. One of my favorite people in the whole wide world. Go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah, Sylvia Earle. One of our many mentors that we work with, she really inspires us, because the way that she explains like why it's so important to protect the environment and what we should do, like anything that she says, it's like mesmerizing. We're like, oh my gosh, okay, yes.
Incredible, right?
Incredible, yeah.
So Sylvia Earle, for those who you don't know, if you look at the depth records and all the things she's done in the gym suit and down at the bottom of the world, I mean, like literally, this woman is such an inspiration to all of us, men and women alike. But when you think about women in science, that is just the Mount Everest of a cool woman. So Guy, here's another stud picture of you. Where is that?
This is Boynton Beach. This is my 4th mural. My largest one to date. It was a building 120 feet all the way around, featuring an open ocean scene with blue marlin, sailfish, mahi. There's a big mako.
How old are you there in that shot?
I think about 15.
Yeah,
about 15,
still rocking murals like buildings. This kid's painting. That's you still, right?
Yep. This was same one. This was the side facing the boat ramp, I believe. And this was the biggest one that I've done yet.
So you're not seeing this, but I see the groupers back there with these big smiles, because they know they've donated their time all weekend to help the kids out. And when they see a little champion like this hitting it, right, that is about as good as it gets with a little guy rocking it, right?
We've known each other for so long. We've all done all these events together over the years, and it's from all sorts of locations, from all sorts of places, and it's... it's always the same group,
Yep.
We all share the same stories. And
giving your time and trying to get people understanding the importance of that. So with everything that you do, Guy and Lily, and Go Groupers, literally thank you guys all weekend. You've been here donating your time. And so for anybody who wants to know more about what you're doing or the Wyland Foundation, they can go to wylandfoundation.org, right? And if they want to donate or find out more monetarily or what they can do or buy the merchandise, everything helps. Literally, Wyland's been in 100 countries. He keeps going back, helping schools, getting the arts back in there. And there's a lot of people who talk about it, but every time I see it, it's like Wyland, and it's people like Wyland and Guy Harvey over and over that show up and actually are giving their time and inspiring all of us to make a difference. So thank you guys so much for joining us. We're here live at the Coconut Grove Seafood Festival. We'll be here all weekend, live on Facebook. Lily, the Groupers, and Guy Snell, rock out. We'll be here all weekend. Join us. Okay, thank you guys. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.